Yo, what's up guys, how's everyone doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day once again. It has been a little bit of a green day for BTC and well, the entire cryptocurrency market today. Let's take a quick overview on CoinMarketCap today. One of the big things is that volume has taken an uptick. I posted this in the in the Telegram channel. Basically what we had was on the down day we had yesterday, the bearish day, volume actually basically stayed the same at around $15 billion, down from a high of 25 when we were rising up, but today on a green day we have seen volume rise. So obviously on this rally up that we saw with Bitcoin, this recent pretty big substantial move up, we saw pretty good volume on the way up there, and like I said, it went up to 25 billion, which is absolutely huge. And the reason it's so significant is because it comes after such a seriously strong sell-off. It's a really bullish sign, and to now see that volume coming in once again is actually a pretty big deal. It is a reconfirmation of our bullish bias, which is a really good sign. And so yeah, we have got a fair bit to talk about today. I'm going to try and keep this one short because I've got a pounding headache and I just cannot be bothered to stay on the mic for too long today. Let's talk about this inverse head and shoulders to start off. It is playing out very nicely, right? So again, I outlined this a little bit back. This was pointed out to me by one of our VIP members who shares some of his analysis pieces with me from time to time. And you know, a lot of people have been eyeing this. It's been talked about a lot. I mean, you know, there's been talk about another head and shoulders pattern forming as well, which looks something a little bit like this. Just very roughly, something that would look a bit like this. So you know, this is actually very telling of just the entire bullish setup that we have right now, and I covered why this is a bullish setup yesterday. It was a very weird explanation, so I'm really happy that no one said they didn't understand it, because I was actually quite concerned about that, and that's where I was talking about, you know, if we're bullish in the shorter time frames, then it translates into, yeah, whatever. But we're basically seeing the same thing here, where we have an inverse head and shoulders on the daily chart, on the larger time frames, but then again also on a much more shorter time frame as well. We've gotten two bullish patterns repeating itself, and you know what I always say is that these patterns are very unreliable, but guys, the fact is recent months with Bitcoin have proven that they're actually quite useful. And so you know, while something is useful, you want to try and maximize how much you can use it over and over, and so that is looking bullish. But this maximizing thing actually leads me into my next point, which I absolutely love. I'm not too sure if it worked out very well in this case though. This is where, okay, yeah, it did. So this is where we draw a Fibonacci retracement, and yeah, so this is something I outlined in the previous video, working to an absolute T. Just very nice predictable movements. I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. It's like Bitcoin is manipulated just based off these numbers. This time, unlike most times, Bitcoin didn't actually hit this 618 level. So in VIP, we actually had a long setup there, and unfortunately that didn't trigger. We had a short which was stopped out. But it would have been very nice to long this level. Like I said, it didn't hit the 618 level. Guys, usually it does hit the 618 level, and so this was just a bit of an anomaly, but either way, it came close enough, right? Let's take a look at this percentage tool, and this was yeah, I mean, it came within 0.7%. I'm gonna say it's less than 1%. I'm gonna say that's good enough. And so what I mentioned in the video, or after the video in a Telegram post or something like that, is that if we do end up kind of dropping down to the 618 level, what we could expect to see is a rise up higher. Why is that? Because we've had a pretty nice little rally, 30 to 40% up, which is you know, fairly substantial deal there. And then, you know, seeing a retrace down to 618 is really that best case scenario that we could ask for. And so to see we're down to the 618 level, we get a bounce up pretty quickly. You know, we're on the 12-hour chart. This is happening kind of within a day. We get a bounce up fairly quickly. It's not a weak bounce. I mean, we are up to 3,900 right now. We did get rejected at this green line, which I've had placed for a little bit now. But either way, it's still looking pretty good, and you know, this rejection at 39.50 obviously could have been shorted. It would have been a nice short for only a short amount of time, but it is looking like that momentum from the bulls is actually there. And like I said, one of the big reasons for that is very simply the volume that we're seeing on this. Now, the good news doesn't end there, because I did also outline, I think maybe even in that same video, what is happening with Ripple. And you know, I get a little bit of hate for this, because it's, you know, everyone either hates it or loves it, but as a trader, I've got to tell you, I absolutely love what Ripple is doing right now. It's forming some very, very nice patterns. I'm getting ready to trade this. What I actually mentioned in that video was that longing this level would also be a good idea. And so if I were to throw out my Fibonacci retracement tool from the previous kind of bottom where you could potentially say this rally started to the top, I mentioned it could see this level. This would be a good level to go long, so shout out to those people who did. I did see those screenshots of profits. This is actually from a VIP member. I'm not sure if I shared this one before. This person booked a 59% profit. Clean trade, dropped like a stone shortly after you called it. Loves being in VIP. Of course, if you do want to get in on that, hit up that first link in the description down below, click on the @4flies at the bottom of any post there, shoot me a message, and we'll get you in VIP. Now, with Ripple, it's still looking like it's ready to go on upwards. It has been pumping up very severely, which is why I expected it to drop down to the 618 level. It did wick a little bit lower, which obviously would have been concerning in the moment, which is why you don't overanalyze the charts, because if you were sitting there in the moment, sitting on the charts like for hours a day, first of all, it's the holiday season, get a fucking life. But secondly, you will end up being a worse trader in 9 out of 10 cases. That is why up until today, every time I was getting on videos for the past sort of week, I hadn't looked at the charts like at all. Maybe like 1 or 2 times very briefly, but like hardly anything. Only doing my analysis right here, and I feel like for a lot of the cases that is what you want to do. You don't want to be sitting at the charts all day. Guys, I see it. I'm in a lot of group chats with traders. And the people who sit there analyzing every single moves are the people who lose the most money. This is not a coincidence because I've been there myself. I know exactly how it works. And so seeing this bounce up, very, very nice. I want to see if we can maybe retest it. And we'd be a little bit bearish, but it would allow us to secure another nice entry at this level. If not, it is in a bit of a rising wedge. Now, this is going to be invalidated by the time you watch this video, but it's in a bit of a kind of rising wedge formation. We've got higher lows and higher highs, so I'd like to see it drop to maybe this level. If I draw out sort of a diagonal line, to see it drop down to this level, sort of mid 9400 Satoshi level, that could be a potential long area. The risk on something like this is definitely quite higher, though. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think the risk is too high. It does depend on your leverage, of course. Breaking 10,000 Satoshis is almost an inevitability for me now. It has tested it 1, 2, 3, and I believe another time. Yes, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times. As we know, each time we test a level like this, it gets weaker. So it's looking really, really good. I'm really loving the way this one is playing out, and so I did definitely want to point this one out. I'm going to be bringing this back into my analysis more regularly now, because this is a coin that has been very, very good to trade. It's been behaving quite nicely with a couple of exceptions, and so I do like the way it's playing, especially over the midterm trend. The short term has obviously been very hazy. Guys, the deal is this entire trend, even though it's been kind of alright with these YouTube videos, has been very, very unpredictable, and there is a good reason for this. It is because we're now at this stage where retail is really being flushed out, because retail can't make money. There is this thing where there is hope, and that hope runs out over time, because time is like the most crucial element that people completely underestimate. Guys, it's not about the prices. If the prices stay sideways at this level for the next 1 year, that's actually not too bad, but let's break it down. You're going to be living through that year, and if you're still the guy that obsesses over the chart like every 3 hours, you're going to be living that life for the next year and not getting any richer. You're going to get dropped out. You're going to capitulate. You're going to end up leaving. That is exactly what's happening with the retails, and guys, what happens when that's left? What happens when that happens? Basically, retail leaves and the only people left are the actual good traders, and we're kind of in that weird transition phase right now, guys. I'm still overall quite bearish. I still think we're going to go much, much lower, and if that is the case, we've got a lot more pain to come, and that means that we need to really step up our games, because we are being left with the good traders in the space. This is what happens in the bear markets, and this is why bull markets are actually quite easy to game. Now, what I've been saying since many months ago is is that bear markets can also be quite easy to game. Statistically, they are not, but they can be easier than bull markets to game simply because previous support and resistance levels have already been established. This is the reason why in VIP we were able to short roughly at this about this level, and this trade should have been open until way lower, but we ended up closing in only a 60% profit. It's absolutely huge, but it could have been something like 3-digit profits. Either way, it's why we were able to game that, because we knew that this level existed. We knew that below $6,000 there was no significant support, and I have been saying it for many months, no significant support until we start seeing the $4,000-$3,000 range. And so that is exactly what happened, and it's why in bear markets we already have established levels that we can expect to use. Now, one key thing I want to point out before signing off, and this is very important, is that now that we're in this range, we don't need to focus so much on what happened back in 2017 with this range, right? Because this price range is the same, but we want to give more significance to price action that's happened in recent times, especially when it's 1 year apart. That is a very long time for something like Bitcoin. Definitely something you need to keep in mind. But of course, as usual, none of this really is financial advice. Well, I say really as if some of it is. Like, none of it is financial advice without any doubt. And so you obviously need to do all of your research and all that good stuff. Now I want to quickly touch on this head and shoulders once more. It is forming this right shoulder now. The key thing to take note of is this $4,200 level. This is very significant. Now, the reason I think we're going to break this, I outlined this, what I said there is that we're going to drop to the 618 level, and then we could end up rising higher. And if we do end up rising higher, we're probably going to break 4,200. So I think there's a pretty good chance we do that. I'm bearish in the long term, but kind of bullish, leaning neutral bullish right now in the short midterm. And the reason for that is we have been testing this level quite often. We're seeing big volume confirmation. Let's see if I refresh this. Has the volume gone up? No, it's actually gone down a little bit, but by hardly anything. We'll see if that continues to be the case. We are getting that volume confirmation. We're getting a lot of good signs. And, you know, when you test a level like this, what we've got to bear in mind, which I also said last time, is that $4,200 is actually not a very significant level as it is. And so, you know, it is a mistake to give it so much credit, and that is why I think it's ready to break this time. That is why something like this inverse head and shoulders being bullish can result in a pretty substantial move up higher. But of course, it is all about calculating that risk to reward. Now guys, before I do leave you, VIP is currently on a 10% off sale for the new year. So if you are looking to step up your trading game, if you want to get access to everything I trade, all of my analysis pieces, pretty much, I can't think of anything else that's left behind because I don't have any other exclusive groups. You know, everything goes into VIP. If you want to get access to that, this sale is running through until the new year. So the 1st of January is when it ends. It is the final discount of 2018. I don't run discounts very often. And so it is obviously quite an exclusive thing to be a part of. Feedback has been amazing, of course. Like I said, this is one of the pieces I got, but I mean, there are like, you know, it's too many to show, so it's like I have to pick just one per video, and that's a little bit of a difficult choice. But either way, lives are being changed, you know. I mean, there are people who went from, there's one guy in July who went from 2 Bitcoin to 14 Bitcoin in July, in like 2 weeks, maybe 3. So that was insane. I don't really know how he did it. I think he went all in on every single trade I told him I was participating in. But either way, absolutely life-changing money. And shout out to that guy, because he went from 2 to 14 BTC and then he quit. He did not try to stay in for longer. He did not try to chase the Lambos and mansions and shit like that. He quit. He got the money he wanted and he's out and he's living life. And that is exactly what I think traders should aim to do. There is no point to try and be in this rat race kind of thing if you don't want to be. If you're as crazy as me and you want to make this your lifestyle, I've got no advice for you. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, that is for you to decide. Anyway, with that, I really hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure you hit up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and with that, I'm out. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe for the next video. If you like the video, please give me a thumb up. Subscribe for the next video. If you like the video, please give me a thumb up.